Part 1. The Great Deception. You have been taught your entire life that power lies in the word, that to be seen, you must be heard. To be influential, you must be persuasive. To win, you must have the final clever argument. To command a room, you must fill it with your voice. This is the Great Deception, a carefully crafted illusion designed to keep you talking, to keep you performing, to keep you distracted, while the truly powerful are not speaking at all. They are listening, and in their silence, they are learning everything they need to know. They are watching you exhaust your energy, reveal your strategy, and expose your deepest insecurities, all while you believe you are in control. This is a lie, an illusion that has held you captive, making you trade the gold of true influence for the fleeting currency of noise. The most powerful person in any room is almost always the most silent. They are an island of calm in an ocean of chatter. While others are clamoring for attention, they are observing, absorbing, and understanding. Why? Because they know a fundamental secret of human nature, a secret that the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche understood over a century ago, a secret that turns silence from an absence of sound into a strategic weapon of immense power. They understand that words are a smokescreen. Words are the official story, the carefully rehearsed press release that we broadcast to the world. They are the polished armor we wear into the battlefield of social interaction. But silence. Silence is the confidential file. It is the unguarded moment. It is the space between the words where the truth resides. When you are silent, you are not just hearing what is said. You are deciphering a hidden code. You are reading the language of the soul, which is not spoken in words but in hesitations, in glances, in the subtle tensing of a muscle, in the breath that's held just a second too long. The person who masters silence is not just a listener. They become a decoder of human beings. Think about it for a moment. Feel it in your own body. Why do we feel so profoundly uncomfortable in silence? When a conversation stalls, why do we feel that frantic, desperate urge to fill the void with anything? A meaningless comment, a nervous laugh, a glance at our phone? Where does that deep, primal anxiety come from? Because in that silence, our mask slips. The performance stops. For a brief, terrifying moment, the curtain falls and the actor is left standing on the stage without a script. In that stillness, the real person is exposed. The person we work so hard to hide beneath layers of carefully chosen words, practiced smiles, and confident assertions. The vulnerability, the uncertainty, the fear, the raw, unfiltered truth of who we are. It all surfaces in that quiet space. We rush to fill the silence, not because there is nothing there, but because there is everything there. And we are terrified of what might be seen. The silent person understands this. They don't fear the void, they command it. They create a space where the truth has no choice but to reveal itself. Today, we are not just going to talk about this power. We are going to hand you the key to unlock it. We will guide you, step by step, through the art of using silence not as a void, but as a canvas, not as a weakness, but as your greatest strength. By the end of this video, you will learn how to read the unspoken truths in any interaction. You will understand how to command respect without saying a word. You will discover a source of inner calm and authority you never knew you possessed. You will never again lose an argument, a negotiation, or a battle of wills, because you will cease to fight on the superficial battlefield of words. Instead, you will win in the silent depths where true influence is decided. If you're interested in psychology that truly transforms and uncovers what others try not to talk about, subscribe to our channel. We await your thoughts in the comments. And now the Great Deception is over. We begin. Part 2. The Power Vacuum. We mistake silence for emptiness, a passive void, a dead space in the conversation we feel compelled to revive. This is our first and most critical error. It's the foundational mistake that keeps us trapped in the noisy, superficial world of words. Because silence is not a void, it is a vacuum, a perfectly engineered, invisible force that draws the truth out of the deepest corners of the human heart. It does not sit there, empty and waiting. It actively pulls. When you deliberately go silent in a conversation, not out of awkwardness, but with intention, you are not being passive. You are activating a fundamental law of social physics. You are creating a low-pressure system in the atmosphere of the interaction. And human nature, just like the laws of the universe, abhors a vacuum. Your counterpart will feel an overwhelming, instinctual, and deeply uncomfortable urge to fill that space. Their mind will begin to race, not with logic, but with emotion. The silence you create isn't empty. It's filled with their rising anxiety, their unspoken assumptions, their desperate need to restore balance. And what did they use to fill this vacuum? Not their practiced speeches, not their prepared arguments or their confident lies. That armor is too heavy to lift in the face of such unsettling quiet. Instead, they reach for what is most readily available, the raw, unfiltered truth. They will pour their anxieties into your silence. They will offer justifications you never asked for. They will reveal hidden flexibilities, points of weakness, and the true price they are willing to pay. They start negotiating with themselves out loud, right in front of you. Their carefully constructed dam of words begins to crack under the immense unspoken pressure, and the truth begins to leak out, then flow, then pour into the space you have so masterfully created. You witness a person dismantling their own defenses, brick by brick, because the quiet alternative is simply too much to bear. So does this mean you no longer have to argue, to persuade, to pry the truth from them with clever questions and forceful debate? Does it mean you can simply sit back and let them expose their own hand? Exactly. You don't force the lock. You present a silence so profound that they hand you the key themselves. Your silence becomes an invisible interrogation room, but its power is that it feels like a sanctuary. There are no bright lights, no threats, no overt pressure. There is only your calm, unwavering presence. The only pressure they feel is internal. The weight of their own inconsistencies, the anxiety of their own hidden agenda. They become both the detective and the suspect. They ask themselves the questions you would have asked, and they answer them with a startling honesty, all in a desperate attempt to fill the void. To win your approval, to make the perceived judgment in the quiet simply stop. You are not manipulating them. You are providing a mirror. And in your silence, they are forced for the first time to truly look at their own reflection. This is the principle of the power vacuum. It is not a trick. It is a law of human interaction, as real and as potent as gravity. It's the force that governs the unseen world of influence. The world where battles are won not with a clash of swords, but with the patient stillness of a master. You have now understood this principle. You have felt its weight and its potential. Part 3. The Silent One's Arsenal. Scalpel, mirror, shield. A master of codes has a toolkit for every cipher, every lock, every secret message. They do not use a hammer for a watchmaker's screw. They possess a suite of precise instruments, each with its own purpose, each designed for a different kind of truth. You are now that master, and this is your toolkit. We will now place in your hands 3 instruments of silent power. 3 keys that you will learn to use with profound effect from this moment forward. The first is called the Scalpel. Imagine yourself in a negotiation, a place where numbers and words are thrown like weapons. They state their price, their terms, their final offer. It feels high. Your instincts tell you there is more room, but your programming screams at you to counter, to argue, to justify your position. You have been trained to fight words with more words. The Scalpel teaches you a different way. When they state their offer, you do not speak. You do not nod. You do not fill the air with protest. You simply hold their gaze, a calm, unwavering look of quiet consideration. And you wait. This silence is the Scalpel. It is precise. It is clean. And it performs surgery not on them, but on their own proposal. In that stretching, deafening quiet, they will feel the fat on their offer. They will sense the exaggeration in their own posture. The silence forces them to turn the scalpel on themselves, and you will watch, without saying a word, as they begin to cut away everything that isn't true. They will say, "But for you, we could make an exception," or, "Of course, that includes a service package we could probably remove." They are operating on their own offer because your silence created a space so sterile, so pure, that only the leanest version of the truth could survive in it. The second instrument is the mirror. You will use this to uncover the truth. You feel it in your bones when someone is hiding something. It's a dissonance, a subtle crack in their story. The old way was to confront, to accuse, to demand proof, turning the interaction into a battle. The mirror is more powerful. You ask a simple, direct question, and then you become utterly still. You become a perfect, silent mirror reflecting their own self back at them. You do not judge. You do not accuse. You simply hold the space with your quiet, attentive presence. The person caught in a lie is already under immense internal pressure. Their mind is juggling the truth, the fiction, and the fear of being discovered. When they look at you and see not an opponent, but a calm, unmoving mirror, the pressure becomes unbearable. You will see the lie crumble in real time. The averted eyes, the nervous shifting, the hands that don't know where to go. They will either confess, re-editing their story into the truth, or they will overcompensate with such force that their deception becomes blatantly obvious to all. The lie cannot survive being seen so clearly by the one who tells it. The third instrument is the shield. You will use this to defend your spirit. Life will throw provocations at you. Insults, passive aggression, condescending remarks. They are poisoned arrows aimed at your peace. Our instinct is to react, to defend our honor, to fire back a witty retort, to show that we are not weak. But what does this do? It validates the attack. It tells the aggressor that their arrow hit its mark. The shield of silence is to do nothing at all. When the insult is hurled, you offer it no energy, no reaction, no anger, no defensiveness. You simply let the word hang in the air and then die, starved of the attention it needs to survive. Your silence is a shield of adamantium. It does not absorb the blow. It reveals that there was nothing to hit. The attacker is left standing there, holding their own poison. Their aggression, meant for you, has nowhere to go and ricochets back upon them. They are exposed, looking foolish and malevolent in the quiet dignity of your non-reaction. You refuse to run their program. You refuse to play the victim. You demonstrate, without a word, that your sense of self is not built on their opinion of you. It is built on rock. So you have a scalpel to reveal a fairer price, a mirror to reveal a hidden truth, and a shield to protect your inner peace. This is not just a collection of tricks. This is a complete system, a way of moving through the world that allows you to read the hidden weaknesses in a proposal, to extract the truth without interrogation, and to render the attacks of others completely powerless. You are now equipped, but possessing these tools is not the same as having the strength to wield them. How do you develop a presence so grounded that your quiet carries more weight than anyone shouting? It is a transformation of your very being, and this is where we must turn to the wisdom of Nietzsche, to forge the soul of the one who wields the silence. Part 4. The Cryptographer's Mindset. Nietzsche's Testament of Power. You now hold the weapons, the scalpel, the mirror, the shield. You understand their function, but a sword does not make a warrior. A map does not make an explorer. And these instruments of silence are useless, even dangerous, in the hands of someone who lacks the internal fortitude to wield them. The moment the pressure rises, the moment your own fear and anger surge, you will drop these fine tools and resort to the clumsy, brutal club of instinct. You will react, you will speak, you will lose. This brings us to the very heart of the matter. It brings us to the most misunderstood and most powerful of Friedrich Nietzsche's ideas. He spoke of the will to power. For over a century, this phrase has been corrupted, twisted into a justification for tyranny, a celebration of brute force, and a desire to dominate others. This is the shallowest reading imaginable, a fatal misinterpretation used by the weak to excuse their own cruelty. The true will to power has nothing to do with ruling over others. The will to power, in its highest and purest form, is the will to dominate yourself. It is the relentless, lifelong striving to achieve absolute mastery over your own impulses, your own reactions, your own inner chaos. The ultimate expression of this power is not found in a king's command or a general's shout. It is found in the stillness. Your ability to remain silent when every fiber of your being, every nerve ending, every conditioned reflex is screaming at you to react, to defend your fragile ego, to justify your position, to have the last word. That is the signature of true power. The person who has conquered their own inner world is the one who owns any room they walk into because they are not a slave to it. Your silence is so unnerving to others because it is a demonstration of a level of self-control they cannot comprehend. It is a quiet testament that you are operating on a different plane, guided by a will that they cannot see and an authority they cannot touch. So the goal is not to break them, to use their discomfort to shatter their defenses? No, that is the thinking of a bully, not a master. The goal is not to break them. The goal is to be unbreakable. To do this, you must adopt the mindset of a cryptographer. Think of it. A cryptographer's first and most sacred duty is not to break the codes of others, but to build a system of their own that is perfectly secure, a system built on logic, order, and internal consistency. A fortress of information so strong that no amount of external chaos can breach it. This is your path. You cannot hope to decipher the chaotic signals, the hidden messages, and the emotional static coming from other people until you have first established profound order within yourself. This self-mastery is the true source of your authority. It is not something you take from others. It is something you generate from within. When you are no longer tossed about by the winds of praise or the storms of criticism, you become a lighthouse. Your presence alone creates a new reality. People feel it. They may not have the words for it, but they recognize that they are in the presence of someone who is whole, who is grounded, who possesses a quiet center that the world cannot shake. This is what commands genuine respect. This is what inspires true trust. You become a stable point in a spinning world, and people will unconsciously orient themselves toward your strength. And once you truly understand this, once you stop drawing your power from the validation of others and start forging it in the silent furnace of your own self-discipline, everything changes. You are no longer just an observer. You are no longer just a decoder of hidden meanings. You move beyond defense, beyond reading the secret messages that others are sending. You can begin to write the code yourself, but to understand a law is one thing. To wield it is another. Now I will give you the tools. We will move from the why to the how. I will place in your hands a complete arsenal of silent tactics, each designed for a specific situation, each one a key to a different door of the human soul. Part 5. The Influence Protocol. The Masterclass. This is the culmination. You have learned to be still. You have forged your will in the quiet fires of self-mastery. You have gathered the unspoken data with the scalpel, reflected truth with the mirror, and protected your spirit with the shield. You have stopped being a slave to the noise of the world and have become the cryptographer of its silence. You have read the code. Now you will learn to write it. This is the final transformation from observer to architect, from one who deciphers the hidden currents of human interaction to one who directs their flow. This is the masterclass. We call it the Influence Protocol. Think of how you have always tried to convince others. You prepared your argument. You gathered your evidence. You marched into the room and presented your case like a lawyer, laying out your perfectly logical, brilliantly structured plan. And what happened? You were met with resistance, with counter-arguments, with ego and emotion. The moment you presented your idea as your idea, you invited a battle. You gave them a wall to push against, and it is human nature to push. The Influence Protocol is the opposite of this. You do not present a finished fortress and demand they admire its strength. You arrive with a single, humble seed. In the middle of the conversation, you don't state your solution. You don't issue a command. You plant this seed with a quiet, open-ended question. A question like, I wonder what might happen if we looked at it from this angle. Or, what if there was a path that could lead us to X? And then, you do what you have been trained to do. You go silent. This silence is different. It is not a scalpel to cut away fat. It is not a mirror to expose a lie. This silence is a greenhouse. It is the fertile soil, the warm sun, and the gentle rain, all in one. You have planted the seed of your idea, and you now create the perfect conditions for it to grow, not in your mind, but in theirs. The power vacuum you create does the rest. Their mind, desperate to fill the quiet, will find the seed of a thought you have left behind. It will not see it as your instruction. It will see it as a curious object they have discovered in the silence. You will witness a miracle of psychology. They will pick up your idea, they will turn it over, examine it, and then they will begin to nurture it themselves. They will start to build the case for your idea, adding their own logic, their own justifications. They will connect it to their own experiences. They will improve it, modify it slightly, and in doing so, they will take ownership of it. They will become the passionate advocate for the very conclusion you wanted to reach, convincing themselves, and everyone else in the room, that it was their brilliant insight all along. You do not need to fight for your idea. They will do it for you, with more passion and conviction than you ever could. But as you feel the sheer power of this, a question must be rising in your soul. Isn't this a form of manipulation? A dark art of bending another's will to your own? Let us be perfectly clear, for this is the most important distinction you will ever learn. The weak man manipulates. The person of integrity influences. The manipulator uses lies, emotional pressure, and hidden agendas to trap his target for his own selfish gain. His goal is to win, even if it means the other person must lose. He poisons the well to make them thirsty. The person of wisdom does not do this. Your goal is not to bend their will, but to create a clearing in the dense forest of confusion, ego, and fear, so that the best path forward can be seen by all. You are not a puppeteer, pulling their strings in secret. You are a conductor. You do not force the violin to play a note. You create a space of such harmony and order that the violinist wants to play the note that serves the beauty of the whole symphony. By planting a seed of a good idea, you are not enslaving their mind. You are liberating it from its own rigid patterns. In the end, they will not feel used. They will feel intelligent. They will feel seen. They will thank you for helping them arrive at their brilliant conclusion, and a bond of genuine trust will have been forged. This is profound power, the power to guide, to shape, and to build consensus without a single act of force. And like all profound powers, from the splitting of the atom to the shaping of a soul, it comes with a profound warning. For this ability to write the code of human interaction walks a knife's edge. And there is a final secret you must understand to protect not only others from its misuse, but to protect your own heart from the darkness it can attract. Part 6. A warning from the abyss. There is a reason we saved this for last. Before you take this power out into the world, you must hear the words of the man who guided us this far. Friedrich Nietzsche left us with a warning, a chilling prophecy for anyone who dares to seek the kind of power we have discussed. He said, "He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss will also gaze into you." This is not a line of poetry, it is a safety manual. And the abyss he speaks of is the very power you now understand. The ability to read the hidden language of the soul, to command a room with your stillness, to plant an idea in the mind of another. This is a profound and dangerous depth. When you sit in silence and watch another person's defenses crumble, when you feel the raw truth pour out of them to fill the vacuum you created, you will feel a sense of control that is intoxicating. You are no longer playing the same game as everyone else. You have found a master key while they are still fumbling with locks. And this is where the temptation begins. It will whisper to you. It will tell you to use the scalpel not just to find a fair price, but to bleed your opponent dry. It will tell you to use the mirror not to find the truth, but to shatter someone's self-esteem for your own amusement. It will tell you to use the influence protocol not to build consensus, but to turn people into puppets for your own private theater. This is the gaze of the abyss. It is the allure of becoming the malicious hacker, not the wise cryptographer. The one who breaks things simply because he can. The one who finds a sick pleasure in the chaos he creates, in the systems he can crash, in the people he can dismantle, all while remaining unseen, untouched, silent. The power to annihilate a person's spirit with your quiet will be sitting in your hands, and the temptation to test its limits will be immense. So how do you avoid this fate? How do you wield this fire without it consuming you? How do you gaze into that abyss of human weakness and not let its darkness stain your own soul? The answer is the one anchor that has kept the human spirit from ruin since the beginning of time, a purpose that is greater than the acquisition of power itself. Power for its own sake is a void. It is a hunger that can never be filled, and it will devour you. The only way to handle power with integrity is to make it a servant, not a master. Your power must serve your purpose. Without a noble why, the how will always lead to corruption. You must decide right now what your purpose is. Is it to seek the truth? Then your silence is a tool for clarity. Is it to protect the vulnerable or defend those without a voice? Then your silence is a shield for others, not just for yourself. Is it to build a family, a business, or a community on a foundation of trust? Then your silence is the ground upon which you build. Your power must be tied to a code, a creed, a mission that looks outward to build, not inward to gratify your own ego. Because a silence that creates harmony can just as easily be used to orchestrate destruction. The instrument is the same. The music it makes is your choice. And in that choice, you do not just decide an outcome. You forge your character. You define your soul. This is the final, unspoken law. With every interaction, you are choosing. Are you building or are you breaking? Are you healing or are you harming? Are you a guide or are you a tyrant? And now the choice is inescapably yours. Because this journey we have taken together has done more than give you information. It has changed you. You can never go back to not knowing. You can never again sit in a silent room and feel only awkwardness. You will always see the hidden currents. You will always feel the vacuum. You will always know the power you hold. The abyss is now open to you, and it is gazing back. Part 7, Transformation. You are the code. You came here for a secret, a technique, a psychological trick to give you an edge in conversation, a hidden lever to pull to get what you want. You came here looking for a new weapon to add to your arsenal. You are leaving with a new identity. This journey was never about learning a script or mastering a tactic. It was about a fundamental rewiring of your being. It was about understanding that the power you were seeking was never in what you could say, but in what you could become. The silence we have explored is not a tool you pick up and put down. It is not an awkward pause you endure. It has now become your native language. It is your canvas. And on this canvas, the world will paint its truth for you. It is the canvas where a blustering ego reveals its own insecurity, where a carefully constructed lie dissolves under its own weight, where the unspoken needs of another person finally find the space to appear. It is the shield that is not made of metal, but of stillness. A quiet integrity that makes you invulnerable to the poisoned arrows of insult and provocation, because you are no longer playing their game. It is the scalpel that is not wielded by your hand, but by your presence. A focused attention that cuts through the noise, the negotiation tactics, and the bluffs to reveal the simple, unadorned core of any situation. These are not techniques you use. They are expressions of who you are now. You have been fundamentally altered. You can never go back to being just a participant in the chaotic noise of human interaction. You cannot unsee the code. You cannot unfeel the power of the vacuum. From this moment on, you are the architect. You are the one who designs the space, who lays the foundation of quiet, who understands that the structure of any conversation, any relationship, any negotiation is determined not by the loudest voice, but by the most stable presence. You are that presence. What now? Where do you go from this place of understanding? How do you take this profound internal transformation and make it real in the world of flesh and blood, of pressure and stakes? The theory is complete. Your initiation is over. Now, you must prove it to yourself. Here is your first mission, a simple test. In the very next conversation where you feel the familiar sting of pressure, when you are challenged, when you feel defensive, when you are asked a difficult question and your mind screams for you to fill the silence with a justification, you will do one thing. You will force yourself to wait. You will hold the space. You will stay silent for just 5 seconds longer than is comfortable. Not 1 minute, not 30 seconds, just 5 heartbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is all. In those 5 seconds, a universe will unfold. First, you will feel the fire of your own anxiety, the desperate primal urge to speak, to react, to end the discomfort. This is the old you, the slave to impulse, fighting for its life. Your mission is to simply observe it and not obey it. Then as you hold the line, you will observe what happens to the person in front of you. You will watch them wrestle with the void you have created. You will see them become their own interrogator, offering up the very information you were about to fight for. You will feel the entire gravity of the interaction shift, away from them and toward you. In those 5 seconds, you will feel the difference between reacting and commanding. You will experience in your own body the birth of your new authority. This is not an exercise, it is your first act as an architect. This is the only homework, but it is everything. Then when you have completed this mission, come back here. Come back to this video and write in the comments what you discovered. Do not share the details of your conversation. Share what you discovered about yourself. Share the moment you felt the power shift. Your testimony is not for us. It is a beacon for others who are just beginning this journey. It is your entry into a community that does not communicate with noise, but with results. Welcome to the club of the silent, the ones who hear everything, the ones who truly shape the world.